Okay. I think we're good. All right. And now live on TikTok. Awesome. Okay, cool. Things are looking good. Things are looking good. All right. Interesting day today. So far. Very interesting day today. What we thought was a panic sell-off yesterday, or the for the most part, what we saw yesterday was definitely a panic sell in semiconductors, any company exposed to the AI space. But for the most part, it looks like we're in recovery territory for a lot of these stocks, or at least rebounding. That's for sure. Looking at some big name tickers for some companies that maybe haven't hit the rebound, like for example, Applied Materials is still down 5%. We're probably going to see the same thing for some other big names as well. For example, looking at Lam Research, they're also down about 2% today. So definitely some interesting things and some interesting developments given yesterday's sell-off. That was kind of crazy. Kind of crazy what was going on yesterday. I mean, ASTS down 13%. We saw Rocket Lab, Nebius, a lot of these other names down big time. Thoughts on SoFi, Alex? SoFi is an interesting one. It's a company that I think has some interesting things going for it. I honestly don't really see a breakout with SoFi though. It's not that exciting of a story. They're doing some cool stuff, but they're priced. I think whatever sort of future earnings that they develop as a result of extra bells and whistles that are being added on to essentially what is a bank, it's probably priced in. I mean, they're at about 38, 40 times earnings. They could break out, and I definitely need to give them, a fair shake as far as research and homework is concerned. I have to admit that I'm not as knowledgeable about them as I want to be. Could be a good move though. Could be a good move. I'm not super excited about it at the moment though. Is IBM a hold still? Yeah. That's a good question, Connor. I think that's kind of the question of the day for a lot of people. I know that IBM kind of, they had a real come to Jesus moment earlier this week, and it's not looking that great for them today so far. Looking at their performance over the last 5 days has been absolutely abysmal. Worst sell-off in company history. Kind of wild. Kind of wild what's going on with them. Did I sell anything? I did not. I did not sell anything yesterday. Thoughts on Path? No debt, $1.4 billion in cash. 6 BMC, low multiples. Path, who are these guys? UiPath Inc. Okay. Low beta. What does their profile tell us about them? What can we learn from these guys? Path Inc. provides automation platform offers a range of robotic processes, automation, primarily in the U.S., Romania, U.K., Netherlands, and internationally. Integrated enterprise software platform that enables agents, robots, people, and models to work together in coordinated workflows. Could be cool. Let's take a look at what their recent financials have been. I mean, yeah, like, $1.4 billion in cash on your balance sheet is nice. I mean, that doesn't tell me a ton. That's, if it is $1.4 billion in cash, that also is a bit of a concern as well, because they have 3.2 in assets. Why do you need that much cash? Looks like they were profitable last year, and on a quarterly basis, things have kind of calmed down a bit. Probably worth a fair shake, probably worth a look. But one of the things that I think is concerning is we're seeing quarter-over-quarter profit and revenue come down. And that they've like a lot. That's a lot of liquidity. Why? That's my first question. If it's $1.4 billion in cash, could be an interesting play. Again, for a robotics company, like, are they trying to buy someone? Are they trying to buy something? Interesting. I don't know. It's cyclical. Yeah, but half your assets in cash and liquidity, even for a company that are cyclical like airlines, they don't need that much. Kind of wild. Could be cool, I guess. I mean, I don't know enough about them. It could be a good business. They acquired WorkFusion at peak of AI last year. Well, I mean, this would require a deep dive. I mean, I can throw it on a watch list. Could be interesting. It says they're down 38%. How are they doing year to date? Kind of bad. Not ideal year to date so far. So that kind of sucks, but could be worth a look. Could be worth a look. Heavy short interest. Doesn't help. That certainly doesn't help. Can we check out Keys? Yeah, we can check out Keys. Keysight Technologies. Okay. Let's see. What game are they in? Electric Design Test Solutions Worldwide, Communication Solutions Group, Electronic, blah, 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 blah. Okay, interesting. So it offers electronic design and test software, instrumentation systems, and related services through the design, simulation, validation, manufacturing, installation, and optimization of communication systems. They've been around a long time. So it's founded in 1938. They've probably rebranded since then. Basic look at their financials. Could be an interesting play. $315 a share. They're at 52 times earnings. Nothing too crazy. They're profitable. That's good news. Looks like there were some pretty large CapEx expenses last year in 2025. We had about $1.7 billion in investing outflows. On a quarterly look, things slowly seem to look to be improving. I need to know. I would need to know what the play is here. I would need to know like what's worth. Like what the growth story is. They've been around since 1939, and they've been probably doing some stuff pretty well. A decent margin, and they're at $1.7 billion in revenue, $350 million in net income, and they have a $53 billion market cap. Seems like a rich valuation. Probably not anything totally crazy. Seems a little rich though. Yeah, I don't know. The only humanoid company in the USA owns SkinTech, VisionTech, XPO, Real Robotics. You think SpaceX goes below 100? Reckon they can merge with Tesla? I'm confident SpaceX will go $100, below $100 a share. Will they merge with Tesla? Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised either way. For the most part, though, SpaceX is not. It's still not worth this price. It's still not worth. Like $80 a share even feels expensive for them. That's the problem. Yeah, I mean, this isn't. It was fun at the IPO. Got in at the IPO and then immediately got out at the IPO. That was fun, but I don't take them seriously until I see some actual real results. Kind of waiting for SpaceX to come to 60. Yeah, maybe. ISRG thoughts. Malachi, that was definitely on my short list. Very interesting healthcare company. Very interesting technology. I know that they've had a bit of a rough go at things lately. To my knowledge, oh wow, down 13% today. My goodness. Looks like conservative guidance from management is the issue here. Could be an interesting buying opportunity. And they just posted results. I got to go check that out actually. Wow. Didn't expect them to come down 13% today. Kind of wild. Semiconductors have been down recently. Yes, they have. Yes, they have. Team, look at Atlassian. Okay, so Atlassian's not bad. To be honest, though, if you want to get into softwares as a service or a SaaS company, I think ServiceNow is better. I'm not wowed by Atlassian. Their value proposition isn't as good as other companies. So no, I wouldn't think about them. Zyman from YouTube says classes in session. Well, welcome Zymans. Welcome. IREN and IONQ. IONQ, I don't like. Too early for me. It still feels like it's in the proof of concept stage. Definitely had a pretty bad day yesterday. Bad week for the most part. Quantum, I do need to brush up on. I'm still learning more about quantum, still learning more about how the technology works, how it applies to a business case, all that kind of stuff. Too early for IONQ in my view at the moment. I'm about to get margin called. Well, hang in there, Juan. Hang in there, and good luck. Good luck today. Uranium mining stocks, I don't. If I want to get into precious metals, I go straight to futures. I don't put a company in the way of what I'm really after as far as the investment is concerned. So gold miners, silver miners, I don't get into all that stuff. It's complicated trying to figure it out before I get left. What are you talking about, Tarekna? Apple, I mean, I know Apple's at all-time highs. I'm not going to dump my Apple stock. Apple's been very, very good to me. I'll probably never sell, to be honest. Quantum computing. Yeah, no, quantum is a tricky space. I feel like that's where the next big exciting thing's going to come from if we don't see a massive market turn down. The rebounds that we're seeing today in the AI space, like NBIS, ASTS, and some of those names, CoreWeave, not totally surprising, but, I don't know if this is kind of like, I don't know how many of you have seen Chernobyl, the series, when all those firefighters get radiation poisoning. I don't know if this is kind of that stage where it looks like they might be getting better and then, we really fall off a cliff here. Hard to say, but it looks like a healthy rebound so far for some of them. Rocket Lab, Rocket Lab is I understand the bull thesis. I understand why people like it. I think they have a long way to go before they really kind of establish their moat and step out of SpaceX's shadow. That's what I'm kind of waiting for with them. The execution risk is extremely high in space stocks at the moment. Some are much better positioned than others. I think Rocket Lab is in a better position relative to smaller competition, but I would have to have super high conviction about what the company's prospects look like, and I have to have a high probability of success here. That's the risk with Rocket Lab. I'm watching it, but I'm not going to invest in it yet. PayPal, the Stripe deal with PayPal, that's interesting to see. Very interesting to see at the moment. Who knows? Maybe that'll close at about $60 a share. SpaceX can crush them if they make Rocket Lab space. That's my problem, and that's what I'm scared of. Percent chance of data centers being primarily built in space. Today, if you're asking the percent chance today, low. But I imagine that probability would go up over time. Thoughts on Micron? Yeah, how's Micron doing today? Are we still sitting at the mid-800s for Micron? Loading. No, we're recovering a little bit. Yeah, that was a rough day yesterday for Micron. The one thing I like about Micron is the fundamentals are real. The fundamentals are there. That's the nice thing to like about Micron. That's what is that should give a lot of people a lot of reason to be happy about Micron. But here's the thing. With Micron technology, they're very heavily exposed to any sort of CapEx turn down from hyperscalers, as are a lot of companies. If there's one company I would think could weather the storm, it could be these guys. And Nebius calls printed today. Can you look at the chart? Yeah, Nebius did rebound quite a bit. Still don't like them. Still losing money. Still expensive. This is not. When they were at what, $300 a share? Yeah, or almost $300 a share back in June. That was kind of ridiculous. Still feels expensive to me. The whole thesis behind essentially what are GPU landlords like Nebius. Yeah. Plus, they also took on a revolving line of credit. That's variable rate. Little concerning. Will Palantir continue to drop? Palantir. Yeah, let's check out Palantir. How are they doing today? As far as Palantir is concerned, I'm very impressed by Palantir as a business. I have a whole 30-minute deep dive into Palantir on my YouTube channel. So if you guys want a more detailed answer than I'm about to give, go check that out. Palantir has had a very impressive growth and very impressive margin growth over the past couple of years. And they definitely have a very strong business on their hands. What I don't like about Palantir is its valuation. It's got way too hyped by the market. They're a defense contractor, which is good, and they're expanding their lines of business to the commercial sector, which is good. and they probably have difficult technology to replicate in some ways, not all. But I'm not buying them at $133 a share. That would mean I would have to consider at least 50% year-over-year cash flow growth for the next 5 years. Even for a company like Palantir, that's ambitious. Very ambitious. So funny, I got tired of the red, so sold off some of my stock. Neb and DRAM, they went right up after. Yeah, Dalton, that's why investing should not be an emotional thing. Do not get emotional about investing. That leads down a very, very, very slippery slope. Can you recap what you said about Rocket Lab? Rocket Lab is an interesting bull thesis. The main risk with Rocket Lab are the execution risk and competition. They're standing in SpaceX's shadow right now. And until they can change things or until they can step out of that shadow with a better moat, then I'll like them. Right now, it feels expensive. It's a fun idea. It's an interesting company. I think they're doing interesting things. At the moment, I probably wouldn't buy. What are you looking at these days? Well, Pengu, I just finished doing a deep dive on Elf Cosmetics. This is the company that bought Hailey Bieber's brand a couple of years ago. This is an interesting company. I'm semi-bullish on Elf. It's a rich valuation, but they have a lot of good assets on their balance sheet, and they have a lot of promising growth, particularly in channels that they were weak, like e-commerce and international. And with Rode, they've basically collected. They're now Thanos. They've collected all the Infinity Stones when it comes to cosmetics because they added 2 skincare Infinity Stones. So basically, they've been stealing market share from L'Oreal, Estee Lauder, all these old household names for a while. So really, really smart moves by Elf Beauty. My target price for them is about $100 a share. Probably a bit. We'll see. A bit rich, but I honestly, like, looking at the technicals, I don't think that they would break out above 80 anytime soon. We'll see, though. I have 6,000 shares of Nebius at 208. Am I cooked? It's not a good spot to be in, Adam, but maybe not entirely. Did Cat fall due to AI lows? Yeah. And probably people taking profit in Caterpillar. We think about Palantir and Netflix. Palantir, too expensive, cool business, impressive results. Netflix, they had their come to Jesus moment yesterday. It's never, as soon as I read the line in that shareholders letter that said that they're looking at time, quality, and quantity, they're basically changing how they measure engagement on their platform. That's bad. Because what they were looking at before wasn't working to make things look good. Now they're moving the goalposts. That's bad. That's not good. Doesn't mean that Netflix is done for, is cooked. I don't think it is at all. I mean, it was rough. And I was live right after the Q2 earnings. That was rough watching that fall off. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see with Netflix. I'm going to stand on the sidelines for a little bit with Netflix. I was kind of surprised that before their Q2 earnings, I was like, why aren't they more valuable? Why isn't this stock going up? Now I kind of get it. I understand now. So I'm going to sit on the sidelines for now for Netflix. Brand isn't cool anymore. Yeah, and a lot of people have been talking about how Netflix is just not as good of a deal as it used to be. And the question then comes to, is that a content problem or a price problem? And when I talked to people or asked people what they thought, it was kind of mixed bag. People said it's too expensive, content's fine. People said the shows suck now, the price is fine. It was pretty mixed. It was pretty mixed, which is interesting. So we'll see. Netflix has gotten so greedy. Yeah. SK Hynix or Micron. It's kind of a 6.5. No, it's not. Micron. I'd say Micron. They've corrected a lot harder recently. Palantir, it's too expensive for me. Palantir's too expensive of a stock. I understand why people like it. Too expensive. Soundhound AI. I need a ticker for that. Basketball. Thoughts on Take-Two Interactive with Software Rockstar Games releasing GTA 6. Take-Two Interactive is one of my highest conviction picks at the moment. Very bullish on this. Very bullish on this company. I like Take-Two Interactive a lot. Lucid, I thought Lucid was on the borderline of bankruptcy. TTW a good entry right now? I think so, yeah. I do. Waste Management, Anthony, I'm a fan of Waste Management as well. I really liked what they did when they acquired Stericycle, and that made them an international company with that acquisition. So it was interesting moves. SanDisk, yeah, how's SanDisk doing today? SanDisk is, yeah, whoa. Still low, man. Guys, appreciate the heart me's. Thank you. Yeah, man, SanDisk has had a rough month, dude. So here's the thing about SanDisk. It needed to correct. Even people who are very, very bullish and buying it at $2,000 a share, you know, in their heart of hearts, I'm sure they imagined that it needed to correct. Are we done correcting with SanDisk, though? We might be. Maybe. Obviously, it's got a nice niche. Obviously, it's got a solid business, and it's in a popular space. Memory's still going to be in demand for the foreseeable future, according to some. I am not. The valuation is still a little bit rich for me, but I could see it stabilizing here. I mean, if it pops below $1,300 a share, then maybe that's the floor falling out beneath for our feet on SanDisk. I'm not a fan of SanDisk at the moment, but it's on a short list for me. Could be a decent buying opportunity. IREN, too expensive. IREN, they're kind of like, yeah, it's getting close. Like if it pops below $30 a share, I don't think it will anytime soon. It could, but I really disliked IREN at $60 a share, at 50, at 40. It didn't like it. Their moat really isn't that impressive either. I get the whole renewable energy thing and pivoting from a Bitcoin miner to a GPU landlord was the right idea. But still, like I don't like their management strategy at the moment. Opinion on Visa, MasterCard, solid blue chip plays, kind of boring, but there's things to like about him. Oracle, Alex, I think you'd be better off with Google or Microsoft or Amazon. What are your top 3 high conviction plays, and how long are you planning to hold? John, my number 1 top high conviction play is I'm short CoreWeave. I'm short CoreWeave at multiple price points. This company is worth $20 a share, max. Total, or like around like $20 a share, maybe a little bit more. This is not a good business. Massively short on CoreWeave. That's probably my number 1. I also really like Take-Two Interactive. That's probably my number 2. The number 2 as far as conviction is concerned. Really like these guys. And then as far as number 3, I would probably have to say as far as number 3 is concerned, honestly, it's going to be a boring answer, but I think most of the Mag 7 seem like they're at good prices right now. What about the NVIDIA backstops for CoreWeave? It doesn't matter because they have a massive amount of debt service on their $25 billion in debt, which, by the way, half of that is tied to floating rate. And the more they scale, the more they lose money. Yeah, I mean, like NVIDIA can backstop them, but that's not the metric CoreWeave cares about. They care about the rate for their GPUs. So NVIDIA can provide top cover for them, but it's not going to matter if Meta pulls the plug. And by the way, they're competing with their own customers. CoreWeave is. All 3 customers, I should say. Yeah, I mean, they get some Mickey Mouse deals with some other smaller, AI developers or startups or this kind of thing. That's not interesting, though. This business is basically a bridge for Meta, and it's a bridge for other hyperscalers. Ondas, what do you think about it? It's a cool drone business. I'm not going to take them seriously until they nail down a Pentagon contract, though. What about Nebius? Do you think it's a fair price? Not. It feels rich. I'm not a huge fan. of GPU landlords anyway. It's just the thin moat in a very, it's just risky. It's still kind of a rich valuation too, to be honest. Crap, I just disconnected. Did I lag? I think I just disconnected. Am I still back in? Can you guys see me, hear me? Was there lag there? Okay. I think I just reconnected. All right, am I back? Good. Good. Awesome. Yeah, I don't know what that was. Kind of weird. Crappy internet. Need to upgrade. DB Cooper says ServiceNow. Go check out my YouTube video on ServiceNow. I think ServiceNow is a hold at the moment. Fair value for ServiceNow, in my view, is somewhere around $90 a share, maybe a little bit more. It's close. I like what they've done. They've got a smart team running things. They've done a good job of integrating AI agents into their business. They deserve a premium valuation relative to other CRM SaaS companies like Salesforce. It's just they need to have some pretty strong cash flow growth, and they need to be able to have they just need to acquire more customers, but that's expensive. That's the problem for ServiceNow. Decent business. It's a good company. Am I entering at this price? Not yet. If I had stock in ServiceNow, I'd definitely hang on to it. So things to like about that. What's the best data center play for growth? It's a tough one. There's a lot of ways to think about that. I'm not super optimistic about what the plays are on data center growth at the moment, though. That's the thing. Like you're already seeing developers starting to sell their equity in their own deals. And like private credit starting to gobble that up, and whoever else. So I don't think that honestly, it's towards the beginning of the supply chain. So it'd probably be companies like TSMC and Micron, Applied Materials, Lam, these guys. That's what I would look at. I know they've corrected a lot lately, so it's not the best answer, but that's kind of where my head is at the moment. ServiceNow's value case in the age of AI is completely tied to MoveWorks. You're not entirely wrong, Haley. I don't think so. Not entirely wrong. What's fair value on Now? You lagged when you mentioned it. I think it's between 90 and 95 a share. Fair value. So it's not too far off, in my view. Thoughts on Reddit? I'm very bullish on Reddit, Ben. Like Reddit a lot. PanXL shakeup? Yeah, maybe. VEEE. Twin V Power Cats. Okay. Boat manufacturer. Makes sense. Dual hull vessels, Bahama Boat Works, and the Twin V brand. V-hull boats and their aqua sport. Fishing, diving, water skiing, as well as commercial activities. Yeah, it could be cool. Could be. Oh, wow, they're up 9% today. Interesting. They're losing money pretty badly. They're losing $134 a share. That's a problem. Hang on one sec. Let's look at recent fundamentals. What do recent fundamentals on this company tell us? All right, so they lost money last year. Looks like they raised quite a bit. 2021. Wait a second. That date is outdated. Yeah, so we got to go to the filings themselves. Typically, Barron's is a good look at that. Maybe. Yeah, no, honestly, it's probably a pass on these guys in my view at the moment. I mean, if you're losing that much money, that's a big problem. Aritzia will be going up. Financials look good. I did do an analysis on Aritzia a while back. It's definitely outdated by this point, but it wasn't a bad business. I know that Aritzia does have a nice niche, and they control a good portion of the. I mean, they are a Canadian company, and they control a good portion of the Canadian market. Nice expansion too, though. If you want to become a millionaire, start as a billionaire, and then start a yacht business. Yeah. I mean, BOAT does stand for bust out another 1,000. You appearing to me on TikTok is a flag that we are entering into a bear market. Oh no, I'm just asking the question, Amid. I'm not claiming we're entering a bear market, tomorrow. I'm curious to get people's thoughts on whether they think we are soon or not. Marvel? Yeah, how's Marvel doing today? Yeah, some recovery a little bit. It's not bad. It's expensive, and I think they're a better play. They're safer place, I'll say, than Marvel. What's nice about them and what's good about them is that they do have a nice niche. They do have a nice moat. They do have a lot of competition. So there's a lot of things to like about what they do. It's just the CapEx exposure to hyperscalers and the competition which scares me a little bit. That's my main thing. SoFi's it's okay, a little bit boring. Google, I think I like Google at the moment. Yeah. If the sell pressure increases in the next 2 weeks, then we're in trouble. Yeah. So is this kind of a fake recovery we're seeing today, especially amongst tech companies with AI exposure, or like is this a real recovery that we're seeing or not? That's what I really want to know. Broadcom is losing more money than they should. Not a fan of it, to be honest. How is Broadcom doing today? Pretty much even. Down just a little bit. Yeah, it's not. I'm not that. No, I'm sorry. I confused Broadcom with somebody else. I confused Broadcom with Applied Digital. My bad. As far as Broadcom's concerned, in some ways, I kind of make a comparison to Marvel Technologies when I look at this stock, because there are some things to like about Broadcom and there are some things that they're doing well. Again, I just think that they have some competitors that are doing better. IBM, yeah, IBM's an interesting one. IBM, I mean, they that was pretty wild what we saw earlier this week with IBM. I mean, that was the worst day in the company's history. A couple days ago. We'll see with IBM. I mean, they got to win their shareholders back. That's for sure. Bought Marvel at 300. Do you think I'm cooked, or does it rise again? It's going to be a while before you see $300 a share. Getting bullish on Boeing with their earnings next week. Here's the problem I have with Boeing. Boeing obviously is not going anywhere as a company, right? They've been around forever. They have survived some of the worst moments in the history of the U.S. economy. Their staying power is incredible. I mean, they're one of two, right? Chances are, for any of you who buy a plane ticket, there's a good chance you'll end up on a Boeing plane, right? They do all kinds of other stuff, defense contracting-wise. The issue I have with Boeing is that you have finance and private equity guys running the company lately, as opposed to actual aerospace engineers. Their management has made some horrible mistakes and horrible decisions, especially with the 737 program. The Dash 9 program, the 777X, that's super delayed, super far behind schedule. I'm not I want to love Boeing, but I can't. Boeing is like the analogy I made with Lululemon the other day. Boeing is like the Cleveland Browns, right? I want to cheer for the Cleveland Browns. I want to see them have success. I want to see them do good. But their leadership keeps screwing up again and again and again. And when you look at a team that doesn't learn from their mistakes, at some point you got to let them, fall on their sword. So, yeah, Boeing, I want to love them. They're on the path to recovery. Not yet, though. It's a not yet for me. Should I be worried about Netflix? Yeah, I mean, they had a come to Jesus moment yesterday. The really bad thing about Netflix is their management switched goalposts on their primary metric, which was engagement. They changed the definition of that. That's not good news. Obviously, Netflix isn't. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. This is. I'm sitting on the sidelines with Netflix. They've got some things that they need to fix, without a doubt. The valuation isn't bad, but their growth prospects are softening. The value proposition has deteriorated over years. A lot of people think it's a price and a content and or problem. We'll see though. I'm not a huge fan of. I was interested in getting to Netflix. Glad I didn't. Glad I didn't, and glad I was patient to wait for earnings. SoFi, it's cool. I need to learn more about it, but honestly, not that excited. Is Netflix or SpaceX a buy now? Neither. Neither is. Thoughts on Zeta Init 18? What is Zeta doing at right now? $22 a share. To be honest, it's not a bad time to take profits. My thoughts. I don't love it. I mean, the deal they announced with Palantir is cool, but not a huge fan of it. So what is a buy now? I think Reddit's a buy. I think Take-Two Interactive is a buy. To be honest, I think Elf is too. Elf Cosmetics. There's not a ton of upside with Elf though. It is expensive. Their PE ratio is extremely high, but their price to sales ratio is low. It's kind of a weird spot to be in. So the valuation isn't totally insane. They made some really smart moves last year by acquiring Hailey Bieber's brand. I mean, I've got a whole 36-minute YouTube video on Elf that I just posted today. CoreWeave, I will short if it rises 12% down. Feels like a hole. No, absolutely not. CoreWeave is dog poo covered in cat poo. This is not a good business. Not a good company at all. Really not a fan. Can you make a video on how to analyze stocks on YouTube? Yeah, well, I'll give it some thought, Ian. I'll give it some thought. ARK ETFs working their way back up. I mean, Kathy Wood is basically the female Jim Cramer. So take what you will from that statement. She's made some pretty bad calls. Consistently bad calls in recent history. I'm not a fan of her or her investing style, so I don't invest in her funds. Can you explain what they do? What bad they do, CW? Are you talking about CoreWeave? Adobe's down 40% as a buy. I don't know. I feel like Adobe's a value trap, to be honest. I could be wrong. There are probably some things to like about Adobe, but it feels like a value trap. I mean, when you're at, what is it, 11 times? No, they're at 13, trailing 12 month as of today. Still, yeah, I mean, I definitely need to do more homework on Adobe, and honestly, you can throw Intuit in that bucket too. So there's probably things to like about it, as far as the breakout's concerned, or like, you know, their growth story. I'd have to look pretty closely into it. Adobe's complete trash. My wife made an app for herself that is as good as Adobe. Well, there you go. There's one person's thought. Should I sell SpaceX or keep buying? Yes or no? It depends on when you got in at. But almost certainly it's lower than what you bought it at. In fact, it is. It's moving in the right direction, honestly. AAOI prediction by the end of this year. AAOI is in an interesting business, so is Lumentum. It's cool what they're doing. I need to understand the technology a little bit better and what the value proposition is a little bit better to decide if I want to invest. Why is CoreWeave so bad? CoreWeave is really bad because CoreWeave is there's three main things. The first is that they're competing with their three biggest customers. They're essentially being a landlord for GPUs to Meta, Microsoft, and OpenAI. It's number one. They're competing with their customers two of which are, and technically a third out of the four big ones, are hyperscalers. The second is that they've used a massive amount of debt to finance the acquisition of this stuff. They are a $40 billion company market cap wise. They have $25 billion in debt. Half of that debt's floating rate debt. So they're exposed to interest rate risk on that front. The other is that the more they scale, the worse profitability gets. So the more revenue that they grow, the more money they lose. This is a terrible company. Everything that they hinge on is basically for the price, basically the going market price to rent the GPU rate for for Blackwell's RTX 3000s or whatever else they have. They've got some software that they've got on their balance sheet. That's not anything anybody else can, like, Meta can replicate that easily. Microsoft and Google probably have better forms of it. This is not a good business. It's worth about 20 to $25 a share. Xia is renting out too. Yeah. Way too much competition, and you're competing with your own customers. Their market share is shrinking. Their debt's getting worse. Profitability is getting worse. I'm surprised it's even up today, but people are going to buy it, or investors are going to invest. Thoughts on Kioxia? It's all right. Is CoreWeave the one that got invested with pension funds? They've got an Nvidia back. Like, Nvidia is essentially providing some assurances to them. But as far as a pension fund investing into them, I'm sure indirectly. Bought SpaceX at 165. Should you keep buying the dip? No, you shouldn't. Are you short CoreWeave? If so, what's your exit price? My target price for CoreWeave is like 20 to $25 a share. This is not. It's not a good company. They're not going to be profitable anytime soon. If they are, it's going to be by some miracle, and it's going to take years. Applied Digital, they should be making money, but they're not. Hang on one sec. Let me double check that. Oh, yeah, another bad day for Applied Digital. Yeah, so this is what I don't like. Not a fan of it, to be honest. They should be making money right now, too. And there's probably a deeper explanation as to why they're not, but, I mean, even in today's market, Q1 results sucked. Any thoughts on gold? I like gold as a macro hedge for sure. Is it going to go back up to $5,000 an ounce anytime soon? We'll see. Probably not. But I still like it as a hedge. Thoughts on DRAM? Too much exposure to me, to be honest. Instead of so I get the idea of, an ETF that is in memory. Personally, I'd rather just pick the best memory company out of all of them that the ETF's holding. So it's kind of the same way how I don't buy gold mining companies or silver miners, right? You just go after where the actual value is. In the case of gold, it's the commodity itself. In the case of memory, it's the actual memory itself and who's the best at doing it. So basically, by buying an ETF like this, you're also buying companies that aren't as good as some others in there. Thoughts on Oracle? It's my least favorite hyperscaler. Why is market down today? I was able to buy Reddit at 176. I think that's a good price for Reddit. TeraWulf, like others, I mean, so like these GPU landlords and that kind of stuff. Do I think TeraWulf is as bad as some others? No. But for the most part, they're losing money at the moment. Like NBIS is an exception to that. That they're in Europe though. And the other thing is basically the state, and you can apply this same statement to other people trying to get into data centers or develop data centers. They're like the state of New York shut the door on these guys. Doesn't help CoreWeave's case either, so that's, fewer options for him. I don't love the moat. I don't love the thesis about companies like this. Some are in much better financial health than others. Some are in much better position than others, but I still don't love it. Thoughts on a Bitcoin ETF? Not in it. I don't care about Bitcoin. Mute till the end of the year, or is it going to go down some more? We'll see. Obviously, this week has been kind of scary for a lot of investors, especially those who are in Micron, about where the price is going to go. To be honest, I was surprised. I saw it go below 900. That was surprising to me. For a minute there, I thought the floor fell out from under us. Is this the actual rebound for Micron? Could it be a good entry point to enter? I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait and see where the technicals look for Micron. The good news for Micron is the fundamentals are there. It's a fantastic company. Really strong business, incredible quality of earnings. Obviously, there's some risks that come with it. We'll see. I'm going to wait. I'm going to kind of wait. And if I'm not the first one back in at a local low price for Micron, that's fine with me. I don't need to be the first one who's right. Do I buy Micron? I'm not going to tell you to buy Micron. I'm not going to tell you what you should do with your money. I'm telling you what I'm thinking. I'm waiting. That's what I'm doing. Moderna, as far as, yeah. I like Eli Lilly more than Moderna, and I think Gilead's in a more interesting position. It's not a bad company, though. Meta, I like the price Meta's at, to be honest. Can you explain your ELF buy more? Yeah, so ELF, for those who don't know, so here's ELF Beauty. They're a cosmetics company. Sell makeup, skincare, all that kind of stuff. ELF bought Hailey Bieber's company a little over a year ago, for about $1 billion deal. Not quite. What that did, and that was about 18 months after another skincare acquisition that ELF did of another company called Naturium. Both of those brands have been added to ELF's portfolio and has significantly expanded its skincare offerings. Out of all the cosmetic companies that you can buy stock in today, ELF they're the best marketers for sure. They spend the most money on marketing, and they have some pretty valuable IP on their balance sheet, and a pretty strong and improving quality of earnings, I would argue. Lately, there's been some margin pressure from both the gross, operating, and net perspective. A lot of that's because of some one-off charges due to some miscellaneous stuff due to last year's acquisition. With that being said, I think that they have very strong operating cash flow, very strong free cash flow. The valuation feels extremely rich at 165, but their price to sales ratio is very low, like less than 10. So it's an interesting spot. My target price for ELF is, I said on my YouTube video, $100 a share. It might take a while for it to reach that. That's kind of the quick and dirty on ELF. Let's see. Hims and Hers, they should be making money. I mean, it's a cool business, but it's like, why aren't you making money? That you should be. Vertiv's Holdings. So here, the things I don't like about Vertiv are the beta is a little high. The valuation's a little bit rich. I mean, like, the cool thing about them is that they offer more, like, they offer the actual, like, hardware for data centers. They're doing some cool stuff. I need to learn more about them, though. Definitely need to learn more about them. Could be an interesting one. Could be an interesting play. As far as recent financial performance has been, what are we looking at? Pretty thin margins. For some reason, the Barron's data is way out of date, so we haven't seen, like, none of this is valuable. Don't know why it's not reporting Q3, 425, and Q1, 26. Yeah, I mean, I need to do more homework on them. Definitely need to do more homework on them. I shouldn't buy the SpaceX dip. Why not? I want to hear your thoughts. SpaceX is not worth what it is. It's the thing with space. You don't have a multi-trillion-dollar company on $18 billion in revenue. That's just not how it works. And SpaceX, for the most part, they said it in their own S1. They said it in their own prospectus. They said that the majority of their total accessible market is through AI, not Starlink, not Starship, None of the Falcon 9 programs, none of the Falcon Heavy programs, none of that. It's XAI. They think their TAM for AI is $28 trillion. I don't know if I was reading a comic book or a science fiction book when I was reading that S1. Almost 300 pages, by the way. This is not worth $125 a share. It's worth less than $100. The IPO was insane. The IPO was fun. I got in on the IPO. Got out 36 hours later. Not a fan of it. Not a fan of SpaceX at this price. Another $100 might be reasonable. There you go. Worth zero. Some people have said that. Is Oracle going to make a comeback? Would love to hear your thoughts. Not as fast as the other Mag 7. Not as fast. $20 a share for SpaceX? Maybe not that low. I'm thinking somewhere around 60 to 70, to be honest. 10 years out, it won't matter. Well, Maserati, that's why I'm waiting. I'm waiting for it to correct even more. Because here's the thing. In the very, very long run, I'm actually bullish on SpaceX. I want to buy stock in this company. I think what they're doing is insanely awesome. They're the only ones who are actually seriously scaling, leveraging, and utilizing this technology. And history tells us not to bet against Elon Musk, but for the most part, history also tells us that IPOs don't do well right after IPO. So we'll see. We'll see. Not a bubble, just overvaluation hype. The fact that it hit only 150 shoes the market had doubts anyways. Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, if people think this is bad, just wait for the lockup period to expire. It's also fair. Yeah, it's also true. Also true. It depends on if you think Grok is worth $1 trillion. That's all. Yeah. And that's where they're losing most of their money is CapEx into AI stuff. Thoughts on Caterpillar? Yeah, how's Caterpillar doing? I know that they were okay. This is actually lower than I was expecting to see, but this is not totally surprising. Pretty rough month for Caterpillar. I think it was like one of the top 5 performing industrials last year. Caterpillar had incredible fundamentals late last year. They had very good fundamentals earlier this year. Is it a buy right now? Caterpillar's a wait and see, to be honest. Its valuation for an industrial is pretty rich at 44 times. They're making money hand over fist though, so they're doing a lot of stuff right. I would need to kind of really think hard about it. 'Cause I don't have very high conviction about Caterpillar at this price, so that's why I'm not bearish or bullish on it at the moment. I really got to think more about it. Got to look more into the fundamentals, look more into the growth prospects. Solid company. It feels rich, may not be. Just bought 100 Bloom Energy and 80 Marvel. Okay, good luck on Bloom. Good luck on Bloom. Volvo's taking Cat's lunch. Are they? Is that true? You think AMC's making a comeback? No, it's not. No. AMC's a meme. The right thing to do with AMC is to take it out behind the barn and take it private. That's the right thing to do. Thoughts on CoreWeave? One of my biggest short position, my highest conviction position also. Total dog poop. Cerebrus. Bruce, Ben, do we have a ticker for them? Google? Yeah, Google's fine. I don't think that, I like this valuation, to be honest. This feels low for Alphabet. Google, if I'm a shareholder of Google, I'm treating Google the same way I treat Apple. I'm probably never going to sell it. Probably never going to sell it. Same thing also probably applies to a company like Microsoft, too. Thoughts on Lucid Motors? No. I don't invest into automotives anyway, but especially not Lucid. God, no. No, Lucid's a mess, dude. They're borderline bankruptcy, no? They're up 12% today. Must have gotten some good news. That was it. Oh, wait, that was fake news, wasn't it? I apologize. I got duped by fake news on that front. Regardless, I still I don't touch automotives. Bloom Energy, I think the gravy train's less the station with Bloom Energy. All right, Cerberus, excuse me. I need a quick reminder on these dudes. Yeah, AI infrastructure, compute platform, software, racks, blah, blah, blah. Wafer scale engine, chip encompassing a silicon wafer, blah, blah, blah. Generate. Okay, I mean, I need to know what their moat is. How do recent fundamentals look? I mean, you're at a 377 PE. Okay. Let's see though. Let's look at how their performance has been. Hopefully Barron's is working today. No data provided. What the hell? Okay. Yeah, so I'd have to go into the filings for Cerberus. I mean, it's definitely expensive. Probably need to be very high conviction about it. Very high conviction about it. Why are you tracking single stocks versus ETFs? Because I enjoy it. I think it's fun. And occasionally single picks outperform. For the most part, though, ETFs are safer. Please make a review on Intel. Here's my thoughts on Intel. Intel is, oh yeah. I mean, it's a sad story. Unfortunately, I think Intel has a lot more room to correct. I got in Intel back in like 2022, around like $45 a share. Got out when it was at 128 earlier this year. The problem with Intel is that it's got a very long road to recovery ahead of it, and they're trying to turn around the most complex and most expensive and biggest money-losing part of their business, which is foundry. It's going to take years. It's going to take years. The market got way too stoked, way too fast about the turnaround prospects of it. I mean, the government's a 10% shareholder, which is cool. They've got a lifeline. They've got support. They're not going to be going anywhere, but they're not worth what they are. They need to correct more, and I think people need to have more realistic expectations about how hard it's going to be. I mean, there's a plant in Ohio that they're trying to build that's years behind schedule. I think they've mentioned they a couple of times that they were going to cancel it, and it's just kind of sat there doing nothing. That's a critical part of their infrastructure and foundry, turning around foundry. It's kind of sad what's happened to Intel. There's a lot to like about it. Very long term, I could be bullish on it, but it's not. I don't like, the bones are there, but it needs to go through rehab. Thoughts on Nebius? Nebius is too expensive. If I'm shorting CoreWeave, what do you think about NBIS? The financials of NBIS are better, but the valuation I don't like. Mon says a panic sell 100%. Could be. Very well could be panic sell. If we had another day today like yesterday, it could have been the pop. Could have been. Doesn't look like it so far though. But because we have companies like this, up 6%, which is it's good, I guess. People need to feel some form of stability, but we'll see. Thoughts on CWEN or renewables in general? Some are exciting. It's not a sector I pay a ton of attention to be honest. Target's up and down, performing pretty well right now. Yeah, how is Target doing? I know that their new leadership team, I think, has been making waves. How have they done year to date? Wow, really well actually. This is better than I expected. I think it was last fall. Target brought one of their own up to the big, put one of their own in the driver's seat of the company. And after all that fiasco with DEI and basically like a massive post-COVID hangover for Target, they could be on the way back up. They definitely have. I mean, they've got a nice portion of the retail market, the mass market retail market. Are they ever going to be as big as Walmart? No, of course not. But there's a ton of things to like about it. It could be worth another look, honestly, because even now it's making a good amount of money. Pretty stable beta too, of only one. And an 18.5 trailing 12-month PE. How do fundamentals look on target? And let's see if Barron's is going to shit the bed again. Let's go. Here we go. Yeah, I mean, thin margins, like always. Makes sense. Balance sheet health hasn't changed fundamentally that much. How about quarterly performance? Doing okay. Like, doing okay. 3% isn't too bad for a company like them. Could be worth a look. Could be worth a look. Thoughts on ServiceNow? I think ServiceNow is a hold. It's pretty close. Fair value, in my view, is around $95 a share. It's close. There's things to like about ServiceNow for sure. All right, let's go to Eaton. Eaton, I see Ben's been asking about them. Yeah, I remember looking at these guys. What? Crap, I forget what they do. It was earlier this week I was looking at them. Okay, so company offers electrical industrial components, power distribution, assembles residential products, single and three-phase power quality, connectivity, wiring. Yeah, they've been around forever, and they're in Ireland. Could be an interesting play. It's probably not a ton of growth prospects. I mean, being a power supplier and providing the physical hardware to make all that happen, especially for data centers, is important. Fundamentals don't look bad either. I'd like to know what these financing outflows were. I don't know if those were buybacks. 15% margin, not bad. Quarterly basis, things look like they're stable-ish. And let's see. They invested a bunch of stuff, maybe and they raised some debt, it looks like maybe. So it looks like they might be making a move. Some type of strategic shift, new move, or something like this. Well, they're in a lot of stuff. I mean, this is a pretty big paragraph. All kinds of stuff, like sealing and ducts, air-to-air refueling systems, fuel pumps, connecting systems. They're in a lot of stuff. So it could be interesting. Could be expensive. Acquired an AI cooling company. Which one? What side are you using for fundamentals? So this is Yahoo Finance right here that you're looking at. So all this stuff right here, this is all, here we are. This is all Yahoo Finance. And then this is Barron's. Here's the company site, Barrons, Barron's. Marvel, expensive. Marvel is expensive in my view. Thoughts on NVIDIA as a long-term hold? Probably not a bad move, to be honest. And I think NVIDIA's valuation is interesting at the moment as well. There's a lot of things to like about NVIDIA at this price. Boyd Thermal, got it. When to enter Claude? Well, Claude's IPO is Anthropic's IPO is supposed to be later this year. What about Salesforce? Yeah, how is Salesforce doing? Okay, down about 1% today. Still sitting at a valuation it was about a month ago. There are things to. It's okay. I can see why people like ServiceNow more, though, to be honest. Guys, I'm going to use the bathroom really quick. I'll be right back. Give me just a few minutes. Give me like 2 minutes and I'll be right back. Just a moment. All right, sorry about that. I'm back. Sorry. I am back. You said a few weeks ago that Micron might go to 1250. Do you still think that? Fundamentals haven't changed. Yeah, I do still think it could. Because the fundamentals are still good. There's a lot of things to like about Micron. It's one of the better positioned companies in the semi space. Corning Glass, Frank, I need a ticker for Corning. What do I think about CRM? It's okay. Sorry, I caught Barron's. What was the fundamental site? Barron's is the fundamental site. This is where we are looking at just a very basic view of the three statements in Barron's here. It provides that data. This is Yahoo Finance. I like Yahoo's view more in some regards, but I like Barron's for other stuff. My bullish on CRM, it's okay. I gotta take a close look at it. I'm not very high conviction. If I am, it's not a very high conviction pick. It's priced at under 20 times earnings, probably for a reason. I use Salesforce at work, and it's so fucking bad. We're breaking contract. There you go, right? So it's gotten some bad feedback recently. I've been busy all day checking Netflix now. It's not great, Xanadu. It's not great, especially after earnings yesterday. Yeah, we're still down in the dumps. Yeah, we'll see with Netflix. I mean, they got to figure something out. The guidance, I read that shareholder letter. That was not good. Guidance is bad. Guidance is pretty bad. Time to buy? Okay. We'll see. You think space stocks are going to rebound to pre-SpaceX IPO prices by the end of the year? No, absolutely not. SpaceX is going to get lower. Not a good business. Or not a good valuation, I should say. GLW equals Corning Glass. All right. Oops. I've heard of these guys. Need a quick refresher on them, though. They do, well, let's see. Glass substrates for flat panel display, liquid crystal displays over in it, like many diodes that are in televisions. Okay, so then US, Canada, Mexico, Japan, Taiwan, China, South Korea, Germany, international. Provides optical, so fiber optics, got it. Sunglass, yeah, they do all kinds of stuff. So like these really old companies that have been around a long time, basically pivoting into new businesses or into more exciting technology. They tend to be safe picks long run, but the thing is that you're probably not going to see a ton of growth out of them. I mean, again, a bit of a blanket statement because it does require a closer look at their fundamentals. It's okay margins. Looks like it's free cash flow positive for the most part. Balance sheet looks relatively healthy. You're probably not going to see a ton of movement in this. It's just steady fundamentals. Probably a little bit boring. I would really need to look into what could move it. I mean, how's it been over the year? It's gone kind of all over the place. A good year, a decent, very good year actually for the most part. The valuation is probably pretty high though. BlackBerry's one of those types of stocks. I think BlackBerry's a meme, to be honest. SMCI. Yep, I remember these guys. This is an interesting one. This is one that's actually kind of slipped under my radar a little bit. I need to do more homework on these guys because I know that there's a lot to like about them. As far as fundamentals are concerned, it's a pretty thin margin, Revenue's growing a lot, though. This could be overlooked. Definitely could be overlooked, especially with the balance sheet health improving, that kind of stuff. Quarter over quarter, it's probably seasonal. Could be seasonal. 4.7% margin, and they're in storage solutions. Don't they do? Yeah, don't they also do cooling, rack level services, from design deployment, that kind of stuff. I'll look into them. They're probably priced the way they are for a reason, though. I mean, usually a low PE comes with a low margin, which is what it is in this case. I've still been holding SanDisk. I think it's been a panic sell. Appreciate the conviction. That's good. Top 3 buys right now. Dawson, I like Reddit. I like Take-Two Interactive, and I also like Waste Management. What about Oracle? So the thing I don't like about Oracle is a lot of their future success is tied to what OpenAI can bring to the table, of course. I mean, that's not news. I mean, their valuation a year ago was absolutely nuts. And I think that there's other companies that are better positioned than Oracle is. It's my least favorite hyperscaler. I think you're better off with something like Amazon. I think you're better off with something like Alphabet. What do you like about Reddit? Really, really, really strong year-over-year revenue growth, and diversifying revenue streams. Solid margins as well. Just arrived. Isn't today's fall in the market due to Korean margin accounts being closed? I did hear that, Bashkim. I also heard that Chinese models have officially surpassed American ones. There's all kinds of news. For the most part, it seems like the companies that were down the hardest yesterday are rebounding today. So we'll see. Thoughts on SoFi? SoFi's okay. It's not that exciting to me. I'd love to hear somebody's strong bull case for SoFi. It seems cool what they're doing. It feels expensive. Bullish on Alibaba. There you go. Good time to sell AMD? Honestly, yeah, I think so. I don't like AMD's valuation, and I don't know why you would invest in AMD when you can invest in NVIDIA. Your opinion on SpaceX going sub $100? That needed to happen yesterday, and it's on its way there. Thank God. And it's probably going to go even lower than $100 a share. Gold and silver sell. I like to keep gold and silver in my portfolio as a hedge. They're good hedges. GV is stock of the year. Could be industrial of the year. Absolutely. Pfizer from YouTube says, hey, what about SRTK? STRK, excuse me. Strategy Inc. Isn't this also... I want to make sure I'm thinking of the same thing. These could be different things. Yeah, this is Mike. Yeah, okay, so this is another ticker. This is a house of cards. MSTR, the Strategy Inc. play where basically Michael Saylor's trying to buy a significant portion of the world's Bitcoin. No, this is not a good business. Complete house of cards. I mean, when you have to make up your own non-GAAP financial metrics to sell investors on an idea, it's not a good play. And plus, they don't know how to manage their debt, and everything about this company rides on the price of Bitcoin. It's not good. Now it's time to invest in SpaceX long term. I don't. There's more room to correct, 100%. Not yet, at least. CrowdStrike. I think CrowdStrike is unprofitable now. There's a lot to like about CrowdStrike. CrowdStrike, in as a personal anecdote, they've left a bitter taste in my mouth because of what happened two summers ago, when CrowdStrike basically crashed Microsoft systems and the entire airline industry froze for a week. I was caught in that mess, so I have a negative bias against them as a result of that, of course, but that shouldn't weigh in into an investment decision. I believe they're losing money. As far as their fundamentals are concerned, let me scroll down here. Yeah, I mean, what's interesting is that they haven't been making money for like years, or like barely scraping by. Quarter over quarter, like you do 1.4 billion in revenue and you get $28 million of income. That's not impressive. Even for like a cybersecurity company, I mean, what's the deal, right? There's probably an explanation for that. I wouldn't imagine it's a good one because this has been going on for a while now. So, probably not. Didn't have a lot to do that. You didn't actually do a lot of research. The issue had more to do with Microsoft. As far as I remember, Don, it was a CrowdStrike thing that triggered a software update, but again, that has nothing to do with investing in the company, like I said. Thoughts on Palo Alto? The place, Ben? Or do we have a ticker? Nebius, too expensive. I don't like Nebius at its current price. Obviously, it's recovering from yesterday, which is, some people are happy about. And there were I know people holding calls on Nebius that are happy. This is not worth $178 a share. Not a big fan of it at this price, just to be honest. Why? Why don't I like Nebius at this price? The reason why I don't like Nebius at this price is because they're again, like other GPU landlords like CoreWeave or something like TeraWulf for this, the more revenue they earn, the more money they lose. Now, this company is not in as bad of financial health as a company like CoreWeave. They're also probably the leader in Europe in that regard. That's something to like about them. But I'm not going to be paying 70 times earnings for a company whose moat is essentially just renting out NVIDIA chips. It's not. It's a right place, right time type of idea. Not a ton of staying power. Not a very original idea. I don't like the moat. ISRG. I'm definitely intrigued by ISRG. Definitely going to take a close look at them. IREN. It's moving in the right direction. If it goes below $30 a share, I'll give it a look. I don't think it will, though. Wrong. Its mode is Arcadian talent. I mean, listen, we know what talent can do. Just look at what's going on in OpenAI. People leave all the time. Is CRM still worth it? I don't know. I need to do more. Need to look closer into CRM. Corning. We looked at Corning. It could be a good play. On Intel, INTC, you mean? Or INTL? Main International ETF? Or are we talking about Intel, the company? Fryby. Ops on Lumentum, they're definitely an interesting company. Same with AIOI. They have interesting technology. It's pretty cool to see what they're doing. The thing is though is that I think it's a lot of execution risk, and a lot of things are outside of their control in my view. What do you think it's going to take for Rocket Lab to gain? It seems nothing moves it positively. The problem with Rocket Lab is I don't like. I understand the bull thesis behind them. I understand what they're trying to do. It's massive execution risk though for Rocket Lab. And they're in SpaceX's shadow. I just don't like their moat. Why do you claim a bubble if our USD is devaluing so heavily? I'm not claiming a bubble, Aid, and I'm asking the question. SMCI has problems with their financial reporting. CEO has been convicted of fraud. Yeah, I know that. That's the one thing with SMCI that I know like could be worth looking at this point, maybe. I think like there was an issue like their Taiwan offices were raided or something like this. Obviously not good news. It's had kind of a bad month, a pretty bad month. It's been a pretty meh year. So I mean it's on a watch list. It's kind of like it's a wait and see play for me, to be honest. Correction as usual? Yeah, absolutely. Do you feel the tech sector has poured too much cash into AI as a need for a correction? Well, I think we saw a large correction this week. As far as correcting more, it very well could. Yeah. The unit economics on AI for the most part aren't ideal. They're not great. I mean, and you know, of course, people make very, very strong have strong bull opinions about AI for sure. And that those aren't unreasonable as well. As far as AI pushing lofty market valuations, yeah, that's absolutely the case in my view. Could it correct more? I think it could, yeah. When will it correct? I don't know. Think about Rocket Lab and ServiceNow. I think ServiceNow as a whole, I think Rocket Lab is I wouldn't get into Rocket Lab, not in my opinion, not at the moment. Did I talk about IBM? We briefly touched on IBM, Tyler. The one thing that I know about IBM is a lot of the money that they're making is from like consulting services. They're like it's like consulting revenue. I need to like dig in deeper and verify that. Kind of strange for a company like IBM. What I do like is where they are in the quantum space right now. But I mean, listen, when you have the worst day in your company's trading history within the last week, that's definitely something to take note of. So as far as what's going to end up happening with IBM in the future, requires more homework on my end. Not the best, not the worst. I need to do more homework. ASTS is greater than Rocket Lab, and SpaceX is popular because of Starlink. ASTS is coming for it. ASTS, no. ASTS, they have a very small moat. Very, very small moat. I don't get this company. I mean, they had to offer $1 billion in convertible notes. That tells you something about how confident investors are about their equity. Don't like it. What do you think about Oracle? Sorry if I missed it. Oracle is my least favorite hyperscaler. I'm watching Oracle. I'm seeing what they're doing. I'm more interested in Google, Amazon, Meta, and Microsoft. Google or Microsoft? To be honest, Microsoft. I mean, the thing is Google. They were trying to raise, or working on raising at the moment. I think $85 billion in equity, which is pretty big. We'll see if that ends up coming, going through. We'll see. Yeah, I mean, I don't. That's it. It's almost kind of 6 cents, 1/2 dozen. I like them both, to be honest. I think Microsoft's valuation is better. Until it's totally transparent and transforming, as opposed to SpaceX with data centers in space. I doesn't change the size of ASTS's moat though. Like that doesn't improve. To be honest, I don't get it. I don't get the whole bull thesis behind this company. I'm just not a fan of it. Think about QQQ crash, tech crash, up or long term. Long term, probably okay. Google has hardware, Microsoft doesn't. Okay. INOQ, too early for me, to be honest. It feels like it's for INOQ. Here's the thing though, I definitely need to brush up my knowledge and learn more about the quantum space. I know a lot of people are excited about this. Could be a really good play. I need to learn more about the quantum space. Feels early though. How's defense doing? Yeah, how is defense doing? How's Lockheed looking today? Me mid. How about Northrop? Yeah, similar boat, up a little bit. How about RTX? We'll check one more. Yeah, kind of the same spot as Lockheed. Not too much movement. Yeah, it seems relatively flat. Paul says panic selling in 3 months, all memory and memory stocks. Too early for quantum. I lost a lot. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. NBIS too expensive. Not a fan. How about Nokia? Nokia's a meme. So is BlackBerry. Did you also watch the Netflix Q2 interview? I did not watch the interview. I was watching the numbers live as the Q2 earnings came out, and I also read the shareholder letter. It was ugly. It's not great. Not great for Netflix. We'll see. I mean, yesterday was definitely a come to Jesus moment for them. Definitely not a big fan of the management having to shift the goalposts on what their key metric is and how they measure engagement, which is a problem. That's what moved the stock price. Yeah, revenue came in slightly under, earnings came in at about expected, but when you have that kind of language from the management, I don't know. Is BlackBerry going to the moon? Nope. No, it's not. The interview was quite positive. Okay. I'll have to watch the interview. I know I didn't like the letter though, so maybe there's something else to be taken from the interview. What about Saab or Euro Defense? Yeah, Rheinmetall. How about them? I had some people asking about Rheinmetall. Damn, I forgot their ticker. Here it is. Up 2% today. Nice. Honestly, I think I like European defense more than American defense at the moment. Just because of what's going on geopolitically, but that's not much of a thesis, to be honest, to choose European over American. So as a gut check, I mean, I like European a little bit more, but we'll see. Cybersecurity and next rotation in line with industrials or energy. As far as what? What do you mean? Maybe you already talked about it, but what about Micron and semiconductor? I'm basically, so my semiconductor exposure right now is Applied Materials. Obviously, it's been a pretty rough month for AMAT. It's been a rough day too. I'm hanging on to it. But I'm not buying any more semiconductors at the moment. So I like Micron's at an interesting spot. Micron definitely has the fundamentals are there for Micron. The fundamentals are there for companies like Lam and Applied Materials. That's why I'm hanging on. I'm just not going to get in at the moment. Apple, I'm always holding on to Apple. Intel's got a long road ahead of it. It's worth less than $95 a share. Could be okay. But it's got a long road ahead. I got out of Intel a while back. My AMAT's price was below 100, then I left too early. Yeah. Can we check gold? Yeah, what's gold sitting at today? Actually, it's better if we just go to gold, just about $4,000 an ounce right now. Okay. Thank you guys for the gifts. Appreciate it. Thank you. I keep gold as a macro hedge. Gold is a good macro hedge. There's if I want if there's an interest rate shock or something like this, that's why I like gold. That's why I like silver. I think it's a good idea to keep a portion of your portfolio in gold because it's not super closely correlated with a lot of other asset classes. That's why I keep gold. Um, so, yeah. Doing great, sir. Make a move post market. Good luck. Thanks, Anadu. Appreciate it. Bearish day doesn't seem bloody enough, though. MU bounce on Key 800. Yeah, I mean, so what are we sitting at with Micron right now? It's sitting at 860 around there, 865. Yeah, 856. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see with Micron. I'm watching it closely though. I like the fundamentals for Micron. I just need to see more data from the market to get an idea if we're at a support point at the moment. Bitcoin, I don't invest in Bitcoin. HP, it's got a forward P of 10. Hewlett Packard. Yeah. I have not looked at Hewlett Packard in a long time. What are they doing nowadays? Aside from selling printers and stuff like this, what else is going on with them? So blah, 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 blah. Company sells and develop networking and security products, hardware, Wi-Fi, private cellular access points, routers, gateways. Include leasing, financing, IT consumption, utility programs. Okay. They've been a bit of a dark horse. In my, at least to my knowledge, there haven't been a ton of eyes on them. Forward PE of 10. Okay. And they're sitting at a trailing 12 month of 43. How have recent financials looked at Hewlett Packard? Like how's that looking? Razor thin margin in 2025. Let's look at quarterly. Still pretty thin. Only 6%, so almost 11 billion in revenue on 624 million in income. Slight improvement, or pretty much I wouldn't say improvement actually. It's like stagnant as far as balance sheet quality is concerned, mainly unchanged. Okay. I mean, so it's a growth play. We would have to look and see what is like, what did they win? Like what kind of deal did they nail down to justify or make it a forward PE of 10? That's what I need to look at. I know Q, it's too early. Too early for IONQ. Absolutely, really happy to help. Parker, I'm using, this is Yahoo Finance right here, Parker, and then this is Barron's right here. So Yahoo Finance, Barron's. And then I also have the 10-year Treasury yield right here at 454 on that today. Do you have an overall opinion on MNST? Not at the moment, Olaf. Thoughts on drone dominance? They're going to be winners and losers. I don't have a specific one that I love in mind when it comes to drones, though. Are you just analyzing fundamentals, making judgments on buy, hold, sell? Igor, as far as buy, hold, sell at the moment, there are some that I have intimate knowledge on fundamentals on. Those companies you can go check my YouTube channel out on. Those are like 30, 40-minute videos that I look at. Like I looked at Nike, Waste Management. I've looked at Reddit, Take-Two Interactive. Just posted Elf today, Elf Cosmetics. I've done Palantir, CoreWeave. Those are ones that I'm very comfortable talking in detail about. As far as picks that people are mentioning that I haven't mentioned in that list or that aren't on my YouTube channel, I provide my thoughts on it and whether or not I think it's a good pick or not. As far as a buy, sell, or hold, I'm not going to say that, though. What's the best platform for options charts? Don't know, to be honest. I don't look at options charts that closely. I don't follow options charts that closely. What do you think about changing majors from business administration to finance? Um, Not a terrible move. You'd have to know you'd want to do something finance related, though. That's the thing. Does the market need a reset? I think the market definitely has some places it could correct. For sure. There are some very, very, very expensive parts of the market that need to change. Um, as far as like a 2008 style reset, maybe not that magnitude. M&S-T PE is pretty much for a high energy drink. I see how it's popular in the gym community. Okay, well, let's go look at them. Oh, Monster beverage. Okay. So what's cool about what's cool about beverage plays, in my view, it's mainly a marketing and distribution play. Don't know why they're down 2.5% today. Oh, it's probably the split, 2-for-1 split on August 11th. Okay. So as far as Monster's concerned, if I compare it to something like Celsius, it's probably a more attractive valuation. Um, so you can see some pretty big growth out of beverage companies, and by the same token, they can come down quite quickly as well. YouTube channel name, it's in the link in my bio. Links in my bio. What about STRK? Oh, yeah, Strategy Inc. Yeah. Also under this as well. Yeah, complete house of cards. This is a business whose foundation is built on quicksand. It's not a good company. Definitely not a good company. How do I stop greed ruining my trades? I will never sell in profit. Then it drops and I lose. That's because, Aziz, like investing should not be emotional. When you see a stock's price, if you hold shares in a company and it goes down 25%, that's when you go look at your original thesis as to why you bought shares in the first place. And that's why you need to be careful about what you buy in the first place. And you need to examine closely why you decided to buy shares in a particular business. STRK's MicroStrategy pay percent convertible MSTR. It's not, but this is not a good what Michael Saylor's the entire foundation of these companies, of this business, is to base it's contingent upon the price of Bitcoin. Basically, the idea is that they're going to control the price of Bitcoin, and they had to pay out this dividend. They had to satisfy their investors, but you're losing money in this. This is not a good play. Both of them, not a good play. If you want a good yield, if you want a good dividend yield, go buy real estate shares in a real estate investment trust. Don't buy this. That's my view. Thoughts on thesis on quantum? Need to learn more. I need to learn more about it. Need to learn more about quantum. Need to learn more about what's available, and learn more about the technology. ANET. Arista Networks. Extensible EOS, publish, subscribe, share, networking operating system, operating combination of set of network applications, data center cloud, and AI networking cognitive agent adjacencies, and cognitive network software and services. Also provides post-contract customer support services, technical support, hardware replacement parts. Sells products to distributors. Okay, interesting. Okay, so they service financial service, government agencies, media and entertainment, healthcare, oil and gas, education, manufacturing, industrial, and others. Cool. Sitting at a 57 with a 1.6 beta. They're making money, which is good. All right. As far as the financials from a very basic view of the company is concerned, annually things actually look great. That's awesome. Looks like there was maybe an acquisition and some capex down here in 2025, 3.6 billion in outflow. Quarterly perspective, things seem pretty good too. Could be a good one. Honestly, could be a good one. It feels a little bit expensive, but it could be a decent one. I'll definitely add it to a short list. Hi, sir. What do you think about Nokia? I think Nokia is a meme. Not a fan of it. Nike or Adidas? Nike. When you set a target price, then do you also have a time frame the stock has to reach it? That's a good question. Yes, and it's typically like 6 months to a year, maybe a little bit longer. It's a case by case type of thing. I can't say for certain. It just depends on the stock. It depends on the company. Like for example, I know that my target price for Nike is going to take a lot longer to be realized than something like my target price for CoreWeave. So there's not really an exact science behind determining a time frame. Is Apple too high to add in more at the moment? I entered it at 275. Kermit, I am never selling my shares in Apple. As far as entering again now, I think it's at an all-time high. And I know there's a lot of things to like about Apple. Yeah, they are at an all-time high at the moment. It will probably correct. Will it go below 275 anytime soon? I don't see that happening. Apple has insanely good fundamentals. Just insanely good. So no, I'm not worried about Apple even at this valuation. I'm not. I'm probably just never going to sell my Apple shares, to be honest. What do you think about AMD, including the recent dip? I don't like AMD for the reason that it's very expensive. The price relative to its earnings is extremely expensive. Their product nor their moat is as good as NVIDIA's. If you're going to buy stock in AMD, then you should just buy it in NVIDIA instead, to be honest. So I'm not a huge fan of AMD. Apple is a scam like rotten apple. I lived through 1987 and 2000 when you were in diapers. Well, Apple's let's look. Let's see how Apple has done. Let's see how you would do as an investment in Apple. Going back to here's 1987 right here. 37 cents, closed at 48 cents, now $333 a share. I'd say that was a pretty good investment. I mean, I heard some low IQ takes before, but that might take the cake. That's hilarious. Nebius, now that Meta is getting into the cloud business, that's why I don't like Nebius, to be honest. It's not as bad as some of its competition, but I don't love the moat on this company, and I don't like the valuation. Apple is nowhere to go but down from here. iPhone is slowly losing market share. IMO. Okay, I mean like if you've got like solid like a Google Docs link with like research and everything to back that up, I'll be the first in line to read it and listen with open ears. I'd like if there's a bear case for Apple, I'd love to hear it. Not because not to try and like be a contrarian or anything, but I'd love to know what people think um, the bear case for Apple is. I don't see it at the moment, but that's why I like to talk with people who disagree with me. By calculating your investments and annual returns, do you use XIRR? Yeah, I do. Marvel's expensive. What do I think about Marvel? It's expensive. Just sold off the first Apple shares I ever bought in 1994. Well, congratulations. That's a really, really good job. Solid investment. I am also a long-term holder of Apple, but it is now 60% of my portfolio. My basis is $2. Still hanging on. There you go. Nice. Thoughts on BlackBerry? BlackBerry is a meme. I don't like BlackBerry, to be honest. No. So basically all AI stocks is too expensive. Most of them are, yeah. Most of them are. What do I think about IBM? It's an interesting question, George. I don't know. And like considering what happened the other day with IBM and considering what their management has said and honestly another not great day for the company on paper and from a 30,000 foot view, it looks like it could be a good entry point, but there's probably more to that story. And probably more that needs to be looked at. There are some things to like about IBM. But that was definitely a bit of a come to Jesus moment the other day. We are over 250 trillion in debt due to Apple inflated valuation. What's my golden goose? Jordan, you mean the best investment I've made? Is that what you mean by golden goose? SK Hynix went up from 8% to only 1% in the last hour. Do you have any idea why? My guess would be profit taking. Yeah, were they on a roller coaster today? They were. Yeah. Damn. Oof. Yeah. Kind of a crazy day for SK Hynix. Amazon MU is killing me right now. Vinny, I like Amazon. Micron, I'm waiting on the sidelines for a bit to see how the market is viewing it, considering the massive pullback that we've had recently with Micron. There's the fundamentals are there with Micron. I need to know if we've hit the floor though, and I don't know if we've hit the floor yet. Meta's going up or down this year. To be honest, I think I could see Meta higher than it is. I'm 2x short on ISRG for 26% return today. Thoughts on how long bearish trend will last? So Jordan, ISRG, I was really intrigued by these guys. Especially now, I mean, I didn't buy shares in them. Somebody had mentioned them to me about a month ago. Take a look at them. It's a fascinating company. I think they have an incredible moat. They have an incredible technology, probably very valuable assets on their balance sheet. I know that people are spooked a little bit about their earnings prospects and their growth prospects. It seemed a little expensive last time I looked at them. I'm going to take a close look at these guys, though. They have a really cool niche. And this could be a really, really valuable company one day. Like, their whole Da Vinci system and robotic surgery systems is insane. Looking at them from an investing perspective, I still got to do more homework on them, but it could be cool. Could really be cool. If you were short on them, I'd love to know why you were short on them. Obviously, you were right, but I'd need to know I would need to know like why you decided to short them. Think AMD is going up? No, I don't. I don't like AMD at its current price. Curious if if we're just in profit taking or something has fundamentally changed about NeoCloud semis. That's what I'm wondering too, Lorax. That's why I'm asking. Today, today there was some rebounds for some really big losers yesterday. So potentially things could be okay. And we come Monday we'll find out what's going on with everything. But over the weekend it'll be interesting to see. And who said they were short ISRG? I would love to know. Like, I wonder where they went. Jordan said that. I don't know where Jordan went. I think he bounced. What Mag 7 should I buy? I like Microsoft, Google, Amazon. Or those are the ones I like. Celsius. Yeah, how's Celsius doing today? Okay, not ideal. It's got a higher valuation relative to its competition. I would, yeah. So the energy drink market's always fun, and beverage plays are always fun anyway. I would, if I holding shares in Celsius, I would hold them anyway, just in case you've got like Nestle or Coke or Pepsi comes along and buys them. It would be cool to have this get acquired by somebody someday. So we'll see. Celsius will rebound. Could be, yeah. I see the value proposition with Celsius. It's a little bit expensive. It's more expensive than its competition. There's upside for sure for Celsius. I don't know if I'd buy it at this price though. So does a good moat justify a high valuation? Yes. Yes. Great, but how should I calculate investment if it's under a year? XIRR fails with that. No, XIRR does not fail with investments that are shorter than a year. In order for XIRR to work, you would need to have a negative starting value. And then you can have as many positive values after that, but they need to have dates associated with them as well. And you also need to pick a discount rate. Tried Celsius for the first time. Great product. I've had Celsius a couple times. I've definitely gotten the jitters from it. There's a lot of caffeine in that stuff. I can see why people like it though. Getting decent at day trading options. How the heck can I do this with a full-time job? Well, if you got a smartphone, Nick, you can make it happen. You just got to stare at your phone a lot if you're day trading options. Got to watch that stuff very closely. So ISRG, interesting from a 40p, but a huge moat. From what I gather, Jackie, or J4, yes, it seems that way. I need to verify that, though, and look closer at it. It's very interesting to me that it came down 13% today. And they had strong earnings, but the guidance wasn't great. It was almost kind of like Netflix the other day. I'm going to look closely at it. I'll read their shareholder letter. I'll look at their filings, look at the business, look at who their customers are. It's interesting. It's an interesting company. I like the moat that I see so far. Thoughts on Nokia? Don't love Nokia. Don't like it. INFQ, Quantum, haven't seen them before. If you're not Quantum, get in on water ETFs. Interesting. Okay. Review SpaceX. Why? It's like, okay. Well, no, I won't ask. I won't be that way. This is a company that's worth less than $100 a share as it is. This is not a good business. I won't say. Sorry. Let me backtrack. It's an overvalued company. It's got incredible technology, doing insanely well. This just got massively overhyped by the market, especially when it hit 220 something a share last month. Way overvalued. It's probably worth half what it is now. That's what I think of SpaceX. Hang on, guys. I got to take a phone call really quick. Give me 2 minutes and I'll be right back. Just a moment. Sorry about that. Sorry. I can't wait to buy SpaceX at 80 and hold it for another 20 years. See, that's what I'm thinking too, Justin, except it might even go lower than that. So that's what I like about SpaceX. Very long term, I'm bullish on SpaceX for sure. But now at its current price, no, I'm not paying that. It's over, bro. Sell everything. If you sell everything, Sandy, let us know how that goes. I'd be curious to know. I'm torn on shares versus the call options for ISRG. Well, it depends on what kind of calls you're going to get, Colton. I mean, if you're going to get 0-day expiry calls, then you may as well go to the casino. But if you're going to buy something like Leap contracts, there could be something to be said about that. What I'd need to know, though, with ISRG is, did the market overreact to management's guidance? And that requires me to learn more about the company. Bought Nebius, 2 new plus $1 billion deals plus smashing earnings. It's expensive to me. Can we get a deep dive on ISRG buying the dip? Yeah, maybe. That could be my next deep dive. Deep dives go on YouTube, though. And I posted a deep dive today, Elf Cosmetics, for those of you who care, to see if buying Hailey Bieber's company was worth it. Do I think the market overreacted to Netflix guidance? That's a good question, Anna. Maybe not. And the reason why I think they didn't overreact to Netflix's guidance is because in their letter to shareholders that they wrote yesterday, the CEO of Netflix basically said they're changing the definition of their engagement metrics. So they're shifting the goalpost from what it was before. What that means, what the market took that to mean as things weren't looking good before, so we're going to change the definition of how things look good to make things look better in the future. So not great. Not great. As far as Netflix being a buy right now, tough to say. It could be, but it would require some pretty deep research into how they're going to change their value proposition to their customers. Most people have been complaining about either price or content on Netflix, or both, and for good reason. And their stock has gotten hammered as a result. It's not been a great year for Netflix, and deservedly so in many ways. Does that mean they're cooked? Does that mean Netflix is done for? No way. No, not at all. The other thing that's concerning too is the Warner Brothers Skydance merger, or the Paramount Warner Brothers acquisition going on. So what does that mean for Netflix? Hard to say, but they need it's a come to Jesus moment for them. I think yesterday was especially. Don't buy SRG. A lot of insider trading. Price will drop another 100. Wait to around 249. Why 100? Why is it going to drop? Why $100 per share? K Martin. And why 249? Like, why those two prices specifically? Why wouldn't it drop? Why not $80 a share or 110? Like, what's your specific reasons for saying that? I'd buy Netflix at 60. It could be a good entry at 60, maybe, yeah. Thoughts on CrowdStrike? I don't like, Maddie, what I don't like is how thin their margins are and why, like, they're barely making money and even losing money some years. Yeah, it's not, like, I don't like that about CrowdStrike, to be honest. What Mag 7 do you think is good? I think Amazon is. CCXI SPAC for Agility Robotics. Yeah, I'll think about it. I'll think about checking it out. Hold SanDisk and SK Hynix. Okay. Well, market's down. What do we think about AEHR after its recent rally in earnings? Air Test Systems. To be honest, I haven't heard of these guys. Who are they? Let's go look at their profile. Not insider trading. There was a warning put out today about ACA coverage shrinking for customers. For ISRG, got it. So, Jordan, is that why you were shorting them 2x? Because I know you had mentioned you made a decent chunk of change on your short position in them. Was it the ACA news and like bad guidance, or like I'd love to like tell me more. Please tell me more. Regarding Air Test Systems, includes Fox XP, Fox NP systems that are full water contact singulated die module test burn-in systems. Devices including silicon carbide-based other power semiconductors, 2D and 3D sensors, and mobile phones. Memory, processors, microcontrollers, systems on a chip, and photonics. Huh, okay. Interesting. All right, so they're in, looks like a semiconductor play. How about their recent financials? Not great. This is not good. So what happened with respect to losing money on a quarterly basis? Okay, so they just, not a great Q4 and Q1. Q2 looks a little better. Maybe there was like some seasonality baked into that. So I need to know why that is. And then it looks like they maybe raise some financing inflows. Okay. Total assets went up by quite a bit. Okay. Revenue went down the drain. I hope you're not in your parents' basement giving us advice. No, sir. I'm in my own house. I'm a homeowner. Financials mean nothing to do, all about future guidance. Okay. Do you evaluate purely on financials? Do you have an interest in tech that you consider on top? Well, so Maddie, I think what you're asking me is all I do to determine if I buy a company by looking at this stuff and then looking at this? If that's what your question is, my answer would be no. I do a lot more than that. I look at all aspects of the company. I look at who its quality of earnings, how it makes its money, what its costs are, what costs are going up, what costs are going down, who's in charge of the business, who their customers are. I look at things like their capital structure, health of the balance sheet, all this kinds of stuff. There's a lot, like it. In some cases, I've done like weeks, if not months, of research on some companies to decide if I want to go in or not. But I mean, like, to give you an idea, where's a good? What's a good one? Like, for example, this right here is the 10K for Elf Beauty. So when I want to invest in a company, I'd start by reading this whole thing. And this is how long is it? Like 111 pages. financials, all that stuff. I mean, you got boilerplate risk language, all that kind of stuff. So read a 10K, read a 10Q, find out who their customers are, find out who their leadership is, learn about those guys, learn about what their growth prospects are, how they talk about their growth, all that type of stuff. SWOT analysis. Yes, no, we do SWOT. I do SWOT analysis too. All that stuff, all of it. What do you think about Target? It's been on a good run the last couple weeks as well. Target's in an interesting spot. I know that Target was definitely basically in the crosshairs of a lot of people for a lot of different reasons. It seems the new CEO and leadership team's turning things around at Target, though. Do you know how to make a DCF? Yeah. I also do a DCF analysis every time I decide to buy or sell something. Companies you've done the most research on? All the ones on my YouTube channel. You can go look at the links in my bio for all those. Take-Two buy. I like Take-Two. It's one of my higher conviction plays at the moment. Big fan of it. Really like Take-Two. To be honest, it's all about guidance and earnings calls. That's what makes big moves in the price. But that's definitely not all of it, in my view. Growth prospects and what the management says and how and the reason why I say that is because the market overreacts to guidance. There are thousands of examples of when the market has overreacted to management's guidance. That's why it's not entirely contingent upon that, in my opinion. Thoughts on Kospi? Kind of wild what's going on over there. Kind of wild. I know a bunch of Koreans got margin called this week. Not pretty news. Any chance Gartner IT gets back to 300 price levels? I'd need a ticker for that. Thoughts on Coherent? Coherent. So I think these guys, they're in I think they're in the optical game as well. Like they do like lasers and stuff like that, instrumentation. Networking materials and lasers. That's what they're in. It's expensive. I can tell you that. It's understandable why they've seen I believe their stock price has done quite well year to date. Yeah. A big correction lately. It's an expensive company with a high beta. That just means it's got a high cost of capital depending on what its capital structure is. It's on a watch list. I'd probably not though. And that's just that's what my gut's telling me at the moment. It does require more homework though. Like if we take a look, yeah, I mean like 85 bips on the margin. You do $5.8 billion in revenue and under $50 million in profit. Quarterly basis though, things look better. Balance sheet health looks like it's improving. So yeah, it could be an interesting company. They're in an interesting space, that's for sure. They probably have a niche, a cool niche. Need to do more homework on them, but yeah. What do you think of DRAM? What do I think DRAM will do by the end of the year? Don't know, to be honest. I as far as like DRAM as an ETF, I understand why people like it. In my personal view and the way I invest, I'd personally rather just go and buy stock in the best memory company in the ETF. A very popular space. Tons of growth lately. It's had a rough week, that's for sure. Good year though. Now the question is, are we at a support point with DRAM? We could be. We very well could be. Thoughts on Micron pushing up today? The fundamentals are there for Micron. I'm waiting a little bit though, biding my time. I don't want to be the first one back into Micron after this big sell-off. You think about SpaceX, massively overvalued. It's worth half what it is now. Panic over patience and prudence for profit lately. Remember memory. I think Paul is bullish on memory. Bought 4,000 shares at QS. Any opinions? Is this a quantum company? If it's a quantum business, I can't give a strong opinion on it. I like. It sounds like they might be. Quantum Space Corporation, to their subsidiaries, develops solid-state lithium metal battery technology for EVs and other applications in the U.S. Nice. Cool. A lot of people do the same thing as them, so I'd love to know what their mode is. How have they been this year? Down quite a bit. And they're probably, are they making money? Nope. So small cap play with 6.3 billion. So Bitcoin, if you bought this, if you bought Quantum Space, or I think you said you bought 4,000 shares or 4,000 shares. If you bought 4,000 shares of these guys today, then the question that I think you need to answer for yourself is, why did you buy them? Why did you buy them? What do you like about them? So far, income numbers and, the income statement doesn't look great. So what was the thesis behind buying this? What about SanDisk? In an interesting spot. It's definitely in an interesting spot. We could be at a support point for SanDisk, and by extension, something like DRAM as well, but we'll see. I saw an article Monday saying Monday can be the worst day for Micron due to this is for Micron. Is this true or just to scare us? You got a link, Bryant, for that? Lithium battery exposure mostly. So if you bought this company, and I'm not like trying to grill you or anything, but if you bought this company, like, I want exposure in lithium batteries just cause. What? But what? Like, more reasons. Tell me more reasons. And if that's the only reason, then in my view, that's a weak thesis. That's a weak investment thesis to buy stock in a company. I just want exposure to lithium stuff. Like, okay, but why? Ask yourself why 5 more times after that. What sectors do you think have a growing future? I mean, technically, Noah, all of them, but when you say future, how far into the future are you talking about? Like, are we talking by the end of this year, 5 years from now, a decade from now, 2 decades from now? Like, what time frame are you referring to? Micron will hold up on Manic Monday. Didn't change in a couple weeks. We'll see. Yeah, it could. It could. If it does, then I'll watch it pretty closely. It could be a good entry point. I believe in a long-term lithium performance for the next 20 years. So why do you believe that? And again, this isn't to grill you or anything, but I'm like this is me like genuinely asking, just kind of testing your thesis. Not to be like a contrarian, just to be an asshole, but like to actually be an honest, good faith devil's advocate to back test your reasons as to why you decided to buy stock in this. So Noah says, what sectors are going to have good growth within the next 5 years? Energy. I think energy, Noah. I think healthcare is another good one as well. How do I send a link? It doesn't let me. I don't know, Brian. I'm not sure why it doesn't let you. You can you can link like a site or like an article title as well. Do you think nuclear will have its day again soon? Maybe. It could. The thing about nuclear, though, is I like solar more. And that's just because nuclear has really, really big, like OKLO, like this nuclear play. There's big regulatory hurdles. Are they overcomable? Yeah, they absolutely are. Um, but it's an additional hurdle in the way as opposed to buying a company that doesn't have that hurdle. With that being said, there are things to like about nuclear. This is one that has been seen the most attention from what I know from the nuclear perspective. But the ones over the hurdle, like CEG, if CEG is over the hurdles that some nuclear companies are not, then yeah, it could be a good play. For the most part, generally speaking, though. And honestly, I'm willing to be convinced otherwise, and I'm absolutely willing to admit when I'm wrong. Um, so if there's a good, if you think I should like nuclear more than solar, I'm all ears. All ears. Most of these companies are headquartered in California. Probably a reason for that. Memory is having a massive sell-off, but if you look at the forward PE, the stocks look like a no-brainer. So the problem I have with that statement, and the problem I have with say, oh, just look at the forward PE and things look great. The forward PE assumes that those earnings have been made already, and a lot of the forward PE for some of these companies is pretty far into the future. So there's nothing wrong with using forward PE as your main deciding factor of thinking whether or not something like, anything in the AI business or anything in the data center development or energy or anything like this is a good way to look at something. But that's assuming that future results are going to be promised. The title is called "You Might Lose Your Shirt by Monday." All right, Brian, I'll go check it out. 247wallstreet.com. Yeah, I'll check that out. I'll go look at it. What explains a crazy high PE? Very high stock price or very low earnings, or both. Where can you actually get forward PE for some SP companies? Most do have a forward PE. Some are much louder about their forward PE than others, but you can go look at it. Can't state my full opinion in the chat box. That's understandable. I know that TikTok limits you to the number of characters you can put in. So I get it, Bitcoin. But I'd love to hear your answer. DMs are open. Definium Therapeutics, opinion on long-term growth. Okay. Well, let's see. DFTX. What are they in? What do they do? New York. World Trade Center. Nice. Okay. 105 employees, at least according to Yahoo. Biopharmaceutical company develops novel products candidates to treat brain health disorders. Lead product is DT120, phase 3 clinical trial for generalized anxiety disorder, major depressive, and other brain disorders. And DT402, an R-enantiomer of 3,4 methyl dioxymethamphetamine. Methylene dioxide. Oh, man. See, I'm not a pharmacist. Which is a phase 2A clinical trials for the treatment of autism. Oh, okay. Headquartered in New York. Yeah, so these like pretty niche pharmaceutical plays, you can like do research about the total accessible market. I don't know jack about the FDA approval process, all that kind of stuff. Definitely not a pharmacist, definitely not a doctor. That's my major weak point on some of these healthcare plays, and how that could potentially make it a good business. As far as, yeah, so it's not making money, of course, but that's to be expected. Yeah. As far as future long-term growth, Vinny, it could be good. I need to know like more about the approval process. I always look at revenue and EPS, and if it shows growth in the last 5 years, it's worth looking at IMO. That's fair. That's fair. Not unreasonable. What do I think of INOQ? A little early. A little too early for me. Is a bubble when demand dropped after AI bubble pops? A bubble refers to asset valuation. So overall stock prices, that kind of stuff. Do I keep my eye on any UK European stocks? Yeah, Kevin, I do. So company like AstraZeneca, Rheinmetall, Airbus, SAP, Unilever, these guys. In general, I look at those, yeah. Do I watch them as closely as American ones? Admittedly, no, I don't. Should I give them the equal treatment that I do to American companies? Yeah, I should. But there are definitely some fantastic European businesses out there that are could make amazing investments. Absolutely. So, yeah, there's definitely a lot of good European companies out there to like Unilever's a fantastic consumer cyclical firm. You know, it's the Airbus to the Boeing that is Procter and Gamble, right? What do you think about the synopsis as of now? Seems pretty cheap, IMO. Anders, as far as valuations, things are expensive, in my view. I don't agree that things are cheap. Do I know anything about 4D Medical? No. Nope. Because says, I do believe we have a long way to go with electric cars, and lithium will be a key for that. Okay. Do you watch Archer / Joby? You mean Archer Aviation? The like the personal helicopter, these guys. This is always a fun one to watch. The YouTube videos of these guys flying their little machine is awesome. Will it turn into something someday? To be honest, I don't think so. But yeah. I mean, it being a $3 billion company, I think is a stretch. And absolutely, Kevin, you're welcome for the answer. Dave, any thoughts? Dave Inc. Dave checking. Okay, so they're extra cash, former discretionary overdraft bridge. So financial services. Personal financial management tool. Okay. Interesting. What is their what's their flagship product? Like what's their flagship product for Dave? What do I think about Iran? Expensive. It's getting close though to being a good entry point. It's gotten beaten up pretty bad lately, rightfully so. It was way too expensive. Like within the last month, this when it was around here at like $60 a share, I was like, absolutely not, way too expensive. And honestly, I'm glad it's come down because it needed to, in many ways. So yeah. Guys, I think I'm going to call it a live here today. I've had a ton of fun talking with y'all. Appreciate everybody who contributed to today's conversation. I always enjoy talking with everyone. I love exchanging investing ideas. I love hearing about what people think about other companies, other investments, that kind of stuff. Always have a good time talking with you guys. Really appreciate the conversation. If you want to go look at more in-depth answers or some more deeper thoughts on some of the things that I've done, then go to my YouTube channel. Go look at some of the videos I published. That's where I get really deep into the weeds on some of these companies. And yeah, just go check it out. Let me know what you think. And if I missed your request today, I apologize. The chat can move pretty fast sometimes, and I definitely miss comments. Try to get to everything as fast as I can. So if I missed your request today, or if this is your first time hanging out, hit the follow button. I'd love to know, love to continue the conversation with you guys, especially if you enjoy live streams like this. I'm live every day during the week. So Monday through Friday, I'm going to be live, continuing the conversation, talking about semis, memory, energy, financials, healthcare plays, all these types of stuff. And yeah, DMs are open too. And go check out some of the other content I have on TikTok. I'd love to hear from you guys. So appreciate everyone joining. Thank you, Noah. Thank you, Chuck. Appreciate you guys. And everyone have a great weekend. We'll talk Monday. We'll take care.